These are some of the most beautiful birds ever captured. And somehow, each one feels less real than the last. To build this list, we searched across tiny forest birds, rare mountain species, ocean birds, and some of the most visually unbelievable creatures on Earth. And by the end, one bird completely changed what beauty in nature even looks like. Starting with a bird so small most people would walk right past it. Zebra finch. At first glance, this bird looks carefully illustrated. The zebra finch may be small, but every detail feels intentional. Smooth gray feathers cover most of its body, while bright orange cheeks create a sudden burst of color. Across the chest, delicate striped markings give the bird its name and make it look unusually polished for something so tiny. Its beak stands out immediately small, bold, and brightly colored against the softer feathers around it. What surprises many people is that this little bird became one of the most studied songbirds in science, helping researchers better understand vocal learning. Native to Australia, zebra finches appear across open landscapes, where their subtle colors blend naturally into the environment. Small birds rarely feel this carefully designed. And if this one looked painted, the next bird looks almost handcrafted. Japanese white-eye. Some birds become unforgettable because of a single detail. For the Japanese white-eye, it's impossible to miss. Wrapped around each eye is a perfectly clean white circle that instantly gives the bird a bright and expressive appearance. Around that striking feature, soft green feathers blend into pale yellow tones underneath, creating a look that feels calm and balanced. Its body is compact and lightweight, making the bird appear delicate even when standing still among leaves. Despite its refined appearance, this species is found across forests, parks, and gardens throughout East Asia. Nothing about it feels exaggerated, and that may be what makes it so appealing. Simple colors, clean shapes, one unforgettable face. But the next bird proves that sometimes familiarity creates even stronger charm. European robin. You've probably seen this bird before, but seeing it up close changes everything. The European robin has a warm orange-red face and chest that immediately draws attention against soft brown feathers. Its round body shape and dark eyes give it an unusually approachable appearance, as if nature designed a bird to look welcoming. Unlike tropical birds filled with dramatic colors, the robin wins attention through simplicity. Its proportions feel balanced. Its expression feels gentle. That combination turned this small bird into one of Europe's most recognizable species for centuries. Robins appear in artwork, stories, and seasonal traditions not because they look extraordinary, but because they feel instantly familiar. And somehow, the next bird becomes even more expressive. Black-capped chickadee. At first glance, this bird looks permanently curious. Its round shape, soft gray feathers, bright white cheeks, and sharply defined black cap create one of the most recognizable faces in the bird world. The contrast is simple, but it makes the chickadee look alert and full of personality. Its small size only adds to the effect. From certain angles, it almost looks more feather than bird. Found across North America, this species appears in forests and quiet backyard spaces, where its compact shape makes it easy to notice. There's nothing dramatic about the colors, nothing unusual about the pattern, yet somehow everything comes together perfectly. But now the list starts changing. Because the next bird brings something this countdown hasn't shown yet. A much bolder splash of color. Java sparrow. Few birds look this clean and this carefully balanced. At first glance, the Java sparrow almost feels designed instead of evolved. Its smooth gray body creates a soft backdrop for details that immediately stand out: a pale belly, a neat black head, bright white cheeks, and a vivid pink beak that brings the entire look together. Nothing appears excessive. Every color feels placed with purpose. Its shape is compact and rounded, giving the bird a calm appearance that makes it easy to watch. Originally native to parts of Indonesia, this species became admired around the world for its elegant look and distinctive face. Unlike birds that rely on dramatic colors, the Java sparrow proves that precision can be just as memorable. But the next bird doesn't stay subtle for long, because one splash of color changes everything. Northern cardinal. Some birds don't blend into nature. They become the first thing you notice. The northern cardinal is impossible to overlook. Rich red feathers cover nearly the entire body, while a dark mask around the face creates sharp contrast and draws attention straight to the eyes. Above it all sits a pointed crest that gives the bird an unmistakable silhouette. Even standing still, it feels bold. Its appearance has made it one of the most recognizable birds in North America and one of the most photographed backyard visitors. Yet despite the vivid color, the shape remains simple and approachable, which makes the brightness feel even stronger. It's the kind of bird people remember instantly. But after all that color, the next bird proves that softness can be even more captivating. Blue tit. This bird looks like someone combined sunshine, sky, and feathers. The blue tit is small, energetic in appearance, and filled with color without ever feeling overwhelming. Soft yellow feathers brighten the underside, while cool blue tones stretch across the wings and crown. A dark line across the face makes the eyes stand out and gives the bird a surprisingly expressive look. Its compact body makes every color feel concentrated. Nothing is wasted. Across forests, gardens, and woodland spaces throughout Europe, this tiny bird brings unexpected brightness wherever it appears. But what makes it memorable isn't just the colors. It's how neatly everything fits together. Small, round, perfectly balanced. And somehow, the next bird becomes even smaller. Gold crest. This bird looks almost too small to notice at first. The gold crest is one of the tiniest birds in Europe, yet its presence is surprisingly striking once you focus on it. Soft olive green feathers cover its body, blending gently into natural surroundings. But the detail that instantly changes everything is the bright golden stripe running across its head, edged with subtle black markings. It looks like a miniature crown, delicate, precise, almost glowing when caught in the right light. Because of its size, the bird often feels more like movement in the air than a solid form, as if it barely weighs anything at all. But what makes it unforgettable is how something so small can still feel so distinct. And now the scale changes completely. Because the next bird doesn't rely on size, it relies on expression. Lovebird. Some birds don't just look colorful. They look emotionally expressive. The lovebird is small, rounded, and covered in vibrant tones that vary between soft greens, warm oranges, and subtle blues depending on the species. Its body shape is compact, giving it an almost plush appearance, like something carefully shaped rather than naturally formed. But what truly stands out is its face. The eyes are bright and alert, giving the impression of constant curiosity and attention. Combined with the tight feather structure around the head, the bird often appears full of personality even when perfectly still. Native to parts of Africa, lovebirds are known for forming strong social bonds, which adds to their reputation as one of the most emotionally recognizable bird types. But visually, it's the balance of color and softness that makes them so memorable. And just when the list feels warm and familiar, the next bird changes the mood again. At first glance, this bird feels instantly recognizable. The budgerigar is small, lightweight, and shaped with soft curves that make it feel approachable. Its feathers display a natural mix of yellow, green, and blue tones depending on variation, often blending in a way that feels smooth rather than harsh. Its head shape is round, almost toy-like, with a small beak that enhances its gentle appearance. But what makes the budgie so widely loved is not just its colors, it's its expression. The eyes sit in a way that gives it a curious, alert look, as if it is always observing its surroundings with interest. Native to Australia, this bird has become one of the most popular companion birds in the world due to its appearance and personality. It feels familiar, comfortable, easy to connect with visually, but the next bird looks like it stepped out of a completely different world. White-crested laughing thrush. This bird looks like it is wearing a perfectly styled white hairstyle. The white-crested laughing thrush immediately stands out because of its bold head pattern. A bright white crest sits on top like a soft plume, contrasting sharply with darker tones across the body. Around the face, subtle markings give it a slightly expressive, almost animated appearance. Its body shape is slightly elongated, with layered feathers that create texture even from a distance. Native to parts of Asia, it is often found in forested environments where its unique crest makes it surprisingly easy to spot. And now the list moves into its most visually powerful section yet, because the next bird is pure color in motion. Burke's parrot. This bird looks like it was painted with sunset light. The Burke's parrot carries one of the softest color palettes in the bird world. Gentle pink tones blend into warm browns and subtle hints of blue across the wings, creating a look that feels almost pastel-like. Nothing about it is harsh or sharp. Everything transitions smoothly. Its body shape is slim, but rounded in a way that makes it appear calm even when still. What makes this bird especially striking is how quiet its appearance feels compared to brighter parrots. Instead of overwhelming color, it offers balance like a soft visual pause in the middle of a vibrant world. Native to the dry regions of Australia, it often appears during twilight hours, which enhances its already gentle tones. But the next bird brings the opposite energy, because now, color becomes impossible to ignore. Toucan. Few birds have a silhouette this recognizable. The toucan immediately stands out because of its enormous, curved beak. Bright shades of yellow, orange, and green dominate its face, while deep black feathers create contrast across the body. The result is a shape that feels bold, graphic, and almost unreal when seen against dense forest backgrounds. Despite its dramatic appearance, the body itself is surprisingly compact, making the beak feel even more exaggerated. Every angle reveals a new layer of contrast between size, color, and form. Found in the tropical forests of Central and South America, this bird has become one of the most iconic symbols of rainforest wildlife. It doesn't hide in its environment, it defines it. And just when the visuals feel maximal in color and shape, the next bird shifts the entire mood. Rainbow lorikeet. This is pure color in motion. The rainbow lorikeet looks like multiple birds blended into one. Bright blue heads fade into green wings, fiery orange chests, and flashes of red that appear almost randomly placed, but perfectly balanced. Its feathers don't just have color, they have intensity. Even at a distance, the bird feels alive with energy, as if every part of it is reflecting light differently. Native to Australia and nearby regions, this species is often seen in pairs or small groups, but even alone it feels visually overwhelming in the best way. Nothing about it is subtle, nothing about it is muted. It is color without restraint. And now, the list reaches a turning point. Because the next bird introduces something entirely unexpected: stillness combined with beauty. Long-tailed tit. This bird looks more like a floating cotton ball than a real animal. The long-tailed tit is unbelievably small and almost perfectly round, covered in soft white feathers with gentle pink tones flowing across its sides. But the feature that completely changes its appearance is the tail: long, elegant, and surprisingly delicate compared to the tiny body. The contrast makes the entire bird feel unreal, like a sketch brought into life. Its face is simple and expressive, with dark eyes that seem oversized against all that softness. Found across woodlands and quiet forests in Europe and Asia, this tiny bird often feels less like a bird and more like a moving cloud among branches. There's something strangely satisfying about how every feature fits together. And now we leave softness behind, because the next bird proves that being small doesn't mean being ordinary. Pygmy falcon. This bird is small enough to feel almost surprising. The pygmy falcon is one of the smallest birds of prey in the world. Yet its appearance is far from intimidating. Soft gray feathers blend with warm white tones across the body, creating a clean, balanced look. Around the eyes, subtle markings give it a focused expression, but the overall shape remains gentle and compact. What makes this bird visually striking is the contrast between its classification and its appearance. Despite being a falcon, it carries none of the dramatic sharpness people expect from birds of prey. Instead, it looks calm, precise, almost delicate. Found in parts of Africa, blends naturally into dry surroundings. But the next bird removes any sense of scale entirely, because now we enter something unbelievably small. Bee hummingbird. This bird looks like it barely belongs in the natural world. The bee hummingbird is the smallest bird on Earth, and its size alone changes how you perceive it. At first glance, it looks like a floating point of color rather than a fully formed animal. Iridescent feathers shift between green and blue depending on the light, while the body remains incredibly compact. Even its wings seem almost invisible when in motion, creating the illusion that it is hovering without effort. Despite its tiny size, the bird carries a surprising brilliance in its coloration. Every angle reflects light differently, giving it a shimmering appearance that feels almost artificial. Native to Cuba, it is so small that it can be mistaken for an insect at a distance. But what makes it unforgettable is not just its size. It's the realization that something this small can still look this vivid. And now the tone changes again, because the next bird feels like pure softness given form. Barn owl? This bird looks carved from silence itself. The barn owl is instantly recognizable because of its heart-shaped face. Pale feathers surround deep, dark eyes that sit perfectly centered, creating one of the most symmetrical and expressive faces in the bird world. Its soft plumage is almost entirely muted in tone, ranging from creamy white to light golden shades. Nothing about it feels loud. Everything feels controlled, balanced, still. When it appears against dim evening light or open fields, the contrast between its pale body and dark surroundings creates a striking visual impression. It doesn't rely on color, it relies on form. And that form is unforgettable. But the next bird brings a completely different kind of impact. Because now we reach one of the most universally loved birds in the world. Atlantic puffin. This bird looks like it was designed to make people smile. The Atlantic puffin combines bold color with a surprisingly compact body. Its black and white contrast gives it a clean base, while the bright orange beak and matching feet add an immediate burst of personality. The beak itself looks slightly oversized, giving the bird a distinctive, almost playful expression. Its posture is upright, and its small size enhances the feeling of charm rather than intensity. Found along cold coastal regions of the North Atlantic, this bird often appears against dramatic ocean backdrops, making its colors stand out even more strongly. There is something inherently satisfying about its design. Simple, balanced, unforgettable. And now, the final stretch begins. Because from here onward, every bird becomes harder to forget. King penguin chick. This is where cuteness becomes almost overwhelming. The king penguin chick doesn't look like a typical bird at all. Instead of sleek feathers, its body is covered in thick, soft down that gives it a fluffy, oversized appearance. The shape is round, almost perfectly spherical, with short flippers tucked gently against its sides. Its face is simple, but deeply expressive dark eyes sitting in the middle of soft gray and white fluff, creating an instant emotional response. Everything about it feels gentle, protected, almost unreal in its softness. In cold coastal environments, this thick down is essential for survival. But visually, it creates one of the most iconic fluffy bird appearances in nature. And now the list moves from softness to elegance. Because the next bird feels almost unreal in its design. Snowy owl. This bird feels like it belongs in a quiet winter dream. The snowy owl is striking not because of color, but because of contrast and form. Its pure white feathers blend with subtle gray markings that create a soft pattern across its body. Large, intense yellow eyes sit forward on a round face, giving it a focused but calm expression. Its entire presence feels still and controlled. Even in open landscapes, it stands out without needing brightness or decoration. There is something cinematic about its appearance, like it was shaped by cold wind and silence. Unlike many birds in this list, it doesn't rely on smallness or exaggeration. It relies on presence, and that presence is unforgettable. But now the ranking enters its emotional peak. Because the next bird is often considered one of the most visually delicate birds alive. Resplendent Quetzal. This bird looks like it belongs in a myth rather than nature. The resplendent Quetzal is one of the most visually breathtaking birds on Earth. Its body is covered in shimmering green feathers that seem to shift color depending on the light, while its deep red chest creates a dramatic contrast that immediately draws attention. But the most unforgettable feature is its tail. Long, flowing feathers extend far behind the body, creating an elegant trailing effect that looks almost unreal when the bird is perched among dense forest branches. Every detail feels intentional, and now only to remain. One known for elegance, and one for pure emotional impact. Cockatiel. This bird feels like emotion given form. The cockatiel is instantly recognizable because of its expressive crest, which rises and lowers depending on its mood, giving the bird a surprisingly dynamic appearance even when still. Soft gray feathers blend with pale yellow tones on the face, while bright orange cheek patches add warmth and personality. Its body shape is gentle and balanced, creating a naturally friendly silhouette. But what makes the cockatiel so powerful visually is its expression. The face appears constantly alert, almost curious, as if it is always reacting to the world around it. It is one of the most widely loved companion birds for a reason. It doesn't just look beautiful, it feels expressive. And now, we arrive at the final bird, the one that brings everything together. This is the kind of bird people don't forget after seeing it once. The baby owl is the definition of pure visual impact. Its oversized round eyes dominate its face, creating an intense emotional connection the moment it appears on screen. Soft, fluffy feathers cover its entire body, giving it a rounded shape that feels almost like a plush figure rather than a wild animal. Everything about it feels exaggerated in the most natural way possible. The eyes, the softness, the symmetry, even its stillness adds to its charm, as if the bird is constantly observing the world with quiet curiosity. Unlike larger or more colorful birds, this one doesn't rely on complexity. It relies on immediate emotional response. And that is what makes it unforgettable. Because sometimes, the simplest design in nature creates the strongest impression. And that's why it stands at the top.